Hello and welcome to a show called Romania Through Their Eyes. The reason for this show is a seeming contradiction in behavior between two groups of people in Romania, the foreigners and the Romanians. The latter want to leave the country. They're looking for any opportunity to find a life somewhere else. The former are drawn to it. They want to visit it, they want to spend time here, and quite a few of them want to move here permanently. Why is this going on? I'm going to try and shed some light on the matter with this show. It's a series of interviews with foreigners, people who've spent a significant amount of time in the country, know it well, and want to share their thoughts with me. I'm going to ask each person a standard set of questions. While they may be the same, their answers are going to be different. They may surprise you. And who knows, one can only pray, they may also end up enlightening those currently running the country and helping to focus their attention on issues of international relevance. I hope you'll enjoy the show. Join me for each new episode. Today's interview is with Tom Lovelock. He's originally from the UK, but he came to Romania by way of Qatar. He moved to the country with his wife 6 months ago.
Right, my name is Tom Lovelock. I'm from the United Kingdom. I'm 62 years old and we came here from Qatar in the Middle East, where we lived for 5 years and we've been here for 6 months. We got here on August 9th, 2010. We live in Bucharest. We're not passing through, we're here to live permanently because my wife is working in Bucharest. I am retired. For over 30 years I sold cars, all sorts of cars in the UK. Before that, I was a young policeman in London. So I did 6.5 years as a young policeman in London, which kind of gives you a good grounding. So I went from policeman to car dealer. There probably isn't anybody in the whole world that would trust me. All I've got to do is add an estate agent or financial advisor to the list, and then I'm certainly going to hell. It's a lot different, obviously, from Qatar in the Middle East. Well, for a start, we can walk out the door and get a beer, and you can, women don't walk around with veils and stuff like that. Qatar is a very, very closed society. Everybody used to say, oh, you live in the Middle East, it must be very glamorous, but people from England enjoy this. It's like living in Milton Keynes, but without the interesting bits. Everybody lives in a compound, you mix with the same people all the time, and it just drives you crazy. We did it for 5 years. We came to Romania because we wanted a European style of life, but without paying, say, German and Italian prices. Romania suits us perfectly. It's got a good cost of living, we've got a decent cost of living, we live well, we enjoy ourselves here, and I just like the place. We find it exhilarating living in Romania. We like the way of life. Me, because of my age, I'm sort of a child of the 60s and 70s in London, so everybody remembers about swinging London and stuff like that. As Bucharest is at the moment, it reminds me very much of how things were in those days. Okay, your city's a little bit crumbly and it could do with a nice clean up and a bit of a tidy up, but it's an interesting, fun place to live. If I was 30 years younger, I'd have even more fun here, although I probably wouldn't be married for much longer if I did that, but if you see what I mean. But I just find the place, you can walk around. You couldn't walk around in Qatar, for instance, because with the heat, everybody goes by car. You can't walk anywhere. The area we live, there's a tube station or a metro station just down the road. We have shops, banks, cafes. Everything we need is within walking distance. If we want to go into the centre of town, it's 4 stops on the metro, and we're there. All of these things have been not part of our life for many years in the Middle East, and it's just like living back in London, back in the old days. It's even almost as cheap because the cost of living here is, from our point of view, really, really, really good. You should probably put your prices up a little, but not much. We like the local markets, we like the local shops. The ladies in the shop in our local shop are teaching me how to speak Romanian because they just shout at me when I don't actually say the right word. So I can say things like butter, but I'm not going to say it now. I can say egg, and I can say bread, and I'm not going to say any of them now, but I can say them all in the shops. We like living near Harrisdale Park because we go quite frequently to the lake. None of these things we've seen for years. And in the Middle East, the water we see is the Persian Gulf, and it just looks like a sea and sand, because we got a lot of sand. I like the metro. I like the metro a lot because I used to travel all the time when I was younger in London. You always went by what we call the tube, and I missed the tube because, you know, travelling and driving through Bucharest, you've got to be crazy to try and do it. I don't know why you don't get a lot of road rage. In the UK we get road rage. Nobody seems to have road rage here. Probably because everybody's, when they're driving, they're too busy on their phone or drinking a cup of coffee or talking to the guy in the car next door to actually get angry about anything, which is probably why you get so many traffic jams. I had a guy drove me somewhere this morning, and he was drinking a cup of coffee, smoking a cigarette on his mobile phone and reading a map while we're going along some road at 80 kilometres an hour. So stop doing that, because sooner or later you're either going to, one of the things you've got to do, the cigarette's going to get out, you're going to spill the coffee, or you're going to crash the car, which is the worst thing you can possibly do. Also, you'll probably run over a dog if you're not looking out the window, because there's a lot of them wandering around the place. When we got here, there were two things that everybody said that was going to happen as soon as you got to Romania. First of all, you're going to get ripped off by a taxi driver at Otopeni Airport. The guy was fantastic. He forgot to charge us half the fare, waited for about half an hour because we went to the wrong hotel, didn't put the meter on, and far from ripping us off, we had to put some more money in his pocket because he drove away with the equivalent, we wanted to drive away with the equivalent of about €5 for nearly 2 hours of his time. You know, there's a few hoods that hang around at Manassi. You know, you can tell these guys because they jump on you. You know, they're dressed the same as the security guards at Manassi Airport. Avoid them, because they try and strong arm you into the back of some beat up old thing, and they go wherever you don't want to go, and then they'll try and, but apart from that, they're easy to spot. But Otopeni, they're great people. I recommend them personally. The other thing they told us is about the wild dogs. So the first time we walked out of the hotel room, we're worried about the wild dogs, but they weren't wild, they were all asleep. You've got the wild sleeping dogs of Bucharest, and these guys are just hanging around the place getting fatter because everybody feeds them. You know, and so those two stories that we just kicked them straight out the window. We travelled all around Europe, and because we come from the Middle East and we're going to live in what we thought was a cold country, as we travelled around Europe, we divested ourselves of all our cool hot weather clothes. So, you know, we threw away our shorts, threw our t-shirts, sandals, threw them all away. When we got here, we got off the plane wearing, like, you know, sweaters, boots and jeans, and it's 35 degrees temperature. So we had to all go down to Banassi and spend a fortune and buy loads of cool weather clothes again. Then it got cold again. Thank you. Yeah, some interesting things. I mean, in Bucharest, in the town centre, if you spend some money cleaning up the buildings up there, people, you know, like, you know, the Arc de Triomphe. Well, you claim it's a foot higher than the real one. They're telling you that it's not. But all these other buildings you got, clean them up, because they would look gorgeous. They would absolutely look fantastic. They're just all grimy and horrible now. Even the flats, just clean them up. You'd be amazed at the difference it makes. Spend the money on the streets. I mean, the place is beautiful. I mean, the Herefordshire Park in the fall, in the autumn, we went through. It made New England look drab. It really did. It was fantastic. It looked great in the snow. I mean, it's a good tourist thing. I mean, everybody would like to think that Vlad Dracul actually was born in the house that you're having a meal in the restaurant, in the downstairs restaurant. But he can't have been born in 80 places at once. He can't have lived absolutely everywhere. For a start, he's not supposed to have lived. We think he's one of the undead. It turns out that he not only is not undead, but he's been born 85 times all around Transylvania. Everybody's got a relative that knew him, or an uncle or an auntie who's related to him. And, okay, push it, but you're pushing it a bit too far. You know, it's like the Germans saying, you know, that everybody used to know Hitler. He wasn't a bad bloke when we knew him, but he was. He really was, honestly. Now that's why the Second World War broke out. I know I've got a friend of mine. He did 8 years research on, somebody paid him. Why did the Second World War break out? What would the reason? After 8 years research, it turns out that Hitler was a right bastard, and that was it. That's the only reason. You're gonna have to do a lot of editing there, aren't you? There's a certain sort of like a macho image that Romanian guys like to give everybody. Like, for instance, your security guards, these people who work for the security companies, with all the paramilitary gear that they all wear, with the big nightsticks and the big boots. and they're all glaring at people every time you walk past. And the fact of the matter is, they're just private security guards. I mean, they can't do anything to you. Right? They can, if you try and climb over the fence or something, they might be able to stop you, but there's nothing they can do. So what is with all the tough guy gear? You know, landscape gardening is the big coming thing in Romania. Believe me, all the rich people here think they need a new garden. They don't. But nevertheless, you could charge them for a new garden. Whether they have to have somewhere for the security guard to stand, so they need a garden. Like everybody else, no one likes your government. Sorry about that, folks, but nobody likes them. Mind you, we don't like our government much either, but you need to do something about your government. I mean, the people, when they collect taxes, they're supposed to spend it on running the country, not on new Mercedes-Benzes and leather jackets. Maybe you should ask them about that at your next election. When you drive around, we were driving through Bucharest the other day, and all of a sudden motorcycles and huge great big convoy of black BMWs, Mercedes goes flying past. I don't know if it was the president or the prime minister or whoever. Wherever he was going, he made me late, and I think I'm more important than him, so I don't like being late. You could do it a little bit more, I don't know, forceful and less sort of, okay, everybody says, oh, you try and get anything done, they go, oh, well, this is Romania, what can you do? Of course you can do it. What do you do? That's why you got the vote. That's why you're in the European Union, so you can do all these things. You don't have to sort of, you know, just shrug your shoulders and go, oh, there's nothing we can do about it, it's them, it's us. But of course you can do something about it. If you're not getting paid enough money, you can go on strike. If you're being fooled around by the local people because they're not clearing wrecked cars off the street, complain to someone and keep complaining until he does it. And they will actually do it in the end. And make the people who get your money spend it on what they're supposed to be spending it on, and not new houses up at Pippa at Mercedes-Benz. Although Jaguars are okay, because I used to work for Jaguar. So you can spend it on Jaguars but not Mercedes-Benz. What I don't like about a lot of what goes on in this part of the world, not just Romania, but they get it in Hungary, Bulgaria and other sort of places, is that your authorities, and especially people like your police and so on, they're not working for the people. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is protecting you and stopping you getting robbed in the streets and stuff like that. You don't have a police force which job it is to protect the government or keep the government in power. It's not their job. Their job is to walk around the streets making sure people don't steal your car and your wallet and making you feel safe. And you should remember that, and you should go out and remind people that that's what you should be doing. Your police force could do with nicer uniforms. Because nobody's joining the police force here because they get a smart uniform that attracts the girls. The guys are all walking around in polyester, and they need new cars as well. I mean, if you've seen the little tiny police cars, I mean, everybody else is driving around in BMWs, and these guys are trying to chase them around in diesel Dacias, and it's not going to work. Believe me, it will not work. But they do have guns, which I suppose makes up a little bit of the difference. Yeah, I suppose if you come and live here, obviously you do your research before you come here. Most of the blogs and things are free. They'll tell you how much you should be paying to rent an apartment and so on. But the thing to do when you get is just take it easy. You know, don't think, you know, walk around, you know, with your hand on your wallet or thinking you're in a foreign country. All of the stories that you read in a lot of the magazines, they're just not true. It's just a normal European country. Everybody just trying to get by. Nobody is, you know, going to pick your pocket every time you get on the metro station or walk across, you know, Piazza Victoria. It's just not going to happen. No more than it's going to happen in any other city in the world. So just get off the plane. Don't worry about the cab driver. They've all got the price of the cab written on the side of the door. If you don't like the price, then don't get in the thing. Catch a bus. They're only across the street. Nobody here is looking to rip you off the way people say they're trying to rip you off, except the government, obviously, because they're ripping everybody off. Am I going to get deported for this?
I don't think so.
Yeah. One of the things that I didn't like is that you get pounced on by your own countrymen in this country. British guys, expatriates, the Americans probably get it with Canadians. Oh, come to the expat bar or come to the British pub where we all go. You go to these places, all mixed together. And these guys, the first thing they'll try and do is rip you off for money, because they're all trying to sell you finance packages or pension packages or persuade you that you need a British advisor, so otherwise you'll never find your way around Romania. It's like, you know, like you've walked in with a Labrador on a white stick. They think you're blind. You know, in this day and age, even I at 62 and get on the internet and I can find out, you know, where my local police station is, where the post office is, where I can go and rent a house, where I have to register because I'm a UK citizen. All these things you can find out for yourself. You don't have to give some guy €350 to get your car registered. You can go down to RAR and do it yourself. It's easy. So when you go to these places, don't give anybody any money. Keep your own money. Alternatively, you do the job and take money off them. At least you get the satisfaction of putting the money in your pocket. Yeah. As another good idea is get yourself a good lawyer, a decent lawyer. There's a lot of paperwork involved in this country. It's not so much the legal side of it, as they know all the paperwork and what you're supposed to sign and what you forget to sign. So if you've got a decent lawyer, you can always phone me or get onto the website and I will tell you who are good lawyers. But don't go to the people in the English pubs because they will rip you off. But get yourself a decent lawyer because they give you good advice and they tell you which form to fill out so things get done. And us guys, when we come here, instead of just turning up and just joining in and doing what everybody else does, we should show our best. If you're going to come over and do business in Romania, don't turn up and just start ripping people off or open up some daft internet company or financial services company or some idiotic thing which is just there to line your pockets at other people's expense. Come here and put something in. Contribute. Show these people, show Romania how we like to do things, because that's how they like to do things as well. People will trust you if you trust them. If you just turn up and start complaining about everything and roaming around the place going, I'll only shop at Carrefour or stuff like that, then you're never going to find out about Romania. Same as we know guys who don't know anything about Qatar. I know people who've lived in Qatar on the same compound for 5 years. The only time they've ever been in the city is to drive down to Carrefour in Doha City, shop and come back again. They've never actually bothered to go around the bazaars or the souks or anything like that. They don't speak a word of Arabic. They never mix with anybody, and every year you can actually time to the date. They all turn up for the same quiz night, the same parties, the same New Year's Eve celebrations, same people all there, the in crowd, and they know nothing about the country that they're living in. Find out about the country you're living in. It's not different from the country you used to live in, it's the same. Everybody's got to be somewhere, you just happen to be in Romania. That's all there is to it. You don't feel any different. Your skin doesn't turn another colour. You don't turn green or grow stalks out your head when you turn up. You're just someplace else. And be normal. Do what you normally would do. And let go of my cat. My cat is annoying some lady here. I'll put that in there. But he'll appear in the camera in a little while. His name is Peter and he's from Arabia. So he's a Muslim. Okay, there you go. Right, this is Peter the cat. He came with us from Arabia and cost me €1,500 to get him here. He flew here via Amsterdam. I don't know if he had a layover or not in Amsterdam, but I wish I'd have flown via Amsterdam myself. I've been there, nice place. Don't go to the Irish pubs. Why are there 27 Irish pubs in Bucharest? There aren't 27 Irish pubs in Dublin. Everybody goes to Irish pubs. Open some other sort of bar. Go to a Romanian bar. Go to a Romanian restaurant. Why would you want to come all this way to live in another country and then end up drinking Guinness talking to some bloke about football in a English or Irish pub? Why would you want to do that? You've wasted your money. You might as well have stayed at home. Apart from the fact that beer's about a third of the price, but apart from that, there's no reason to do it. There's no reason why you would want to do it. I know a guy who's a colleague of my wife's. I'm not going to mention his name. No, I'm definitely going to read it because he'll definitely watch this. But the guy never goes out anywhere. He never turns up for anything. He knows nothing about anybody. And he sits there, and the last time I spoke to him, the only time I spoke to him, a few weeks, he said, I don't like Romania. I said, what don't you like? He said, the dog's barking at night. I said, well, move your bedroom and shut a window. And he said, yeah, but I can't stand it. The dogs bark at night and the streets are dirty. Well, so what? And I can't drive my car around because there's potholes in it. I said, didn't you not read a book? Did you not get on the internet? Did you not find out about the country you're going to live in before you hopped on a plane, or in your case in your car, and drove here? Just find out about the place and then you're not going to be surprised. I mean, if you don't like the roads here, try the roads in Qatar that disappear. It rains every 3 years and then the road is gone because they have to put another road up because they just lay the road on the sand. Then when it rains, there's Water goes under the road, you got no road. You think the roads are bad here? Try somewhere in like Ethiopia. I worked there for a while as well. I mean, there are no roads. If you want to get around anywhere safely, go by helicopter, because that's the only way you're going to get around. So don't do these things. Just turn up, get off your plane, and live a normal life, and you'll get on just fine. Absolutely. And when you'll go in, you'll ask people, and they will tell you, they'll advise you, they'll help you. They won't particularly try and rip you off, no more than anybody else would try and rip you off. And you'll enjoy life here immensely, especially if you're young. This is a young person's country. What else should you do when you come to live in Romania? If you're under 30, I would actually buy yourself a pair of blinkers, because the women here are hot, believe me. These are the best looking women in Europe, bar none, including Italy, and I've been to Italy a lot as well. They are fantastic. In fact, they are fantastic looking people. So if you're under 30, you are going to have a good time if you come to live here, but you will end up with a large extended family in about 3 months. And don't remember, all these girls have got brothers and fathers. Yeah. Well, they do, don't they?
Yeah, it's true.
I can't think of any other reason why you wouldn't come to live in Romania, really. I mean, it's just, I think it's a fantastic place. I really, we've grown to like it. It's like being young again. It really is. And it's, the prices, everything is right. You've got to integrate and live in with it and become part of the country you're living in. Sure, you've got your British friends, but since we've lived here, we've had people come to visit from Scotland, we've had people come to visit from Canada, we've got people come to visit from Qatar, we've got somebody who's going to come over and see us from Nepal. We know people all over the world. We've got friends in Mexico. When you work in the circuits that we work in, we know people all over the world. And you've got things like Skype and Facebook nowadays. I mean, everybody's a neighbour. I mean, everybody's sort of live next door. You don't need to sort of think, I'm in a foreign country and Johnny Foreigner and all the rest of it, because it's just not so anymore. The only barrier is the language barrier. And Romanian is a pretty easy language. Now, if you speak a little Italian and you speak a little Spanish or any kind of sort of romantic language, then you'll get on just fine learning Romanian. It's pretty easy to pick up. And if not, do the British thing, just shout at them in English. It always works. But it does, doesn't it? Englishmen just shout at people. Everybody speaks English. You shout long enough, everybody speaks English. You just keep shouting louder and louder and louder. Oh, right, yeah. It's all done. We know this for a fact. But did you know we had an empire? Did Romania have an empire?
No.
No, we had an empire. It was because we went around shouting at people. So that's the only reason you get an empire. Just turn up and yell a lot. Okay.
Did you enjoy the show? Do let me know what you think in the comments below. And please take a few seconds to like it or fave it or share it with your friends. Show me that you want to watch it, and I'll be glad to get to work on more interesting interviews. Thank you. Till next time.